scooching.
Scooching.
Does it seem dark?
I think it's because we usually have the well, do we always have the overhead lights on? I don't remember.
I'm not sure.
I will say it does feel dark because we don't have this light. That's I think usually you
Yeah.
usually have lights on over there. You also have the light behind you on.
Oh, yeah.
That one didn't get turned on. I think that's probably what's causing it.
Okay.
'Cause I
Okay.
turned all the lights over here, but someone didn't do the lights on their side of the room.
No, I forgot. I got distracted. So we're going to turn some lights on so we can see what we're doing, so you can see what we're doing.
God, you got one. Oh, you put one of those in here, did you?
Oh, yes, I did. I have the new flame.
I'm gonna not lie. It just looks like a rave.
It does. It's a little ravey as opposed to
Oh, is this one of those?
flickering. Oh, that one.
It's like one of those.
Yeah, it's on the cord behind the
Oh,
brass.
because that's where I would look for that.
Yeah.
Don't think I'm gonna reach
Yeah,
it. Okay, we're
that's
just
okay.
ignoring that.
We're just
because I
going to
can't-
ignore that. And we're just going to do it
In
by-
the slightly mood rave lighting.
the warm, cozy false candlelight.
I feel like it looks more candlelight on video, but in person it looks like
Yeah, it does kind
It
of look
looks-
like candles. Yeah,
it
like
looks-
a fire.
But when you look at it directly,
Yeah.
it looks like the light's having an aneurysm. Like
Yeah.
it doesn't look right.
Are you having a conniption of some kind?
Something's happening. It's not functioning well. Doing
So,
well.
welcome to our podcast. This is the first one of 2025.
Yes.
So,
Yay for us.
So I hope everyone had a great holiday season.
Christmas. If you celebrate
Christmas,
Kwanzaa, Hanukkah,
Hanukkah.
Yule, or just a good time off in the winter if you don't
Yeah.
celebrate anything.
Yeah, it's a nice time to just kind of tuck in for a little while.
Yeah.
Because the days are darker because, you know,
so they feel a lot longer.
exactly. And then, of course, there's the new year. So it's a new start. And I think as human beings, we get a lot of new starts. And I think Mother Nature knew when she set up her seasons that we needed new starts, multiple ones.
We need to do things over and over and over again. And get,
Exactly.
Just make the sheet blank again.
Exactly. Because, like, we get the new year, we get spring, feels like a new start a lot of the times,
Yeah.
right? Then we have fall.
Yeah,
which
when
is-
you go back to school, that always feels, even when you're not in school, it still feels like.
Exactly. I usually get, fresh pens and pencils at that time of year because I want some of this back to school stuff, right? I don't need any more lined paper. I have
You got
stacks
tons of
it.
fly paper, eh?
For some reason, I bought it like every year when it was super on sale, thinking, "Oh yeah, this will be
I'll
great."
go through this so
and now I've got a
fast.
stack about I'm not kidding, about this much.
Well, and like, most people write things on their computers these days. Not everyone.
yeah,
but,
yeah.
Like, often
I
it's
don't
like,
use lined paper as much.
Let's say I don't use. I do like writing stuff, but I find because I don't do as much now, my hands get sore. And I'm like, oh my god, they like stretch before I'm gonna write for a while.
Do
Because
that.
I do so much through just like my computer or my iPad or whatever.
Right. So, how was your holidays? What did you do? Anything
Holidays
fun?
was good, very good. I was off a lot, so we had a lot more time. It was off, the first Boxing Day off in since he was in college.
Oh wow! Oh yeah!
Yeah, because of the new job.
Yeah.
Or promotion of the job.
Yeah, that's awesome.
But, so he was home a lot, which was really nice actually. And so we ended up seeing Moana 2 and we saw Wicked.
Nice.
Did sledding.
Yeah, I saw the pictures for the
Yeah,
sledding.
we did
Looked
sledding
like
a
fun.
few times. One time with just us, the four of us, and then a couple of times with their friends.
Oh, okay.
And then we just hung out, had good food, watched movies. It was really chill.
Yeah,
Kids had a good time.
Ours was pretty chill.
Yeah.
I changed my tradition, as you know.
Yes, you did.
Because normally on Christmas Day, I celebrate Yule and Christmas, but normally on Christmas Day, because I was brought up in the Christmas tradition, and I just
It's hard to let go.
Yeah, and
they
Yule
did.
is so close to Christmas, and I don't mean by time, but I mean a lot of the traditions are the same. Yeah.
Christianity stole from other things.
Yeah. Right. So it's so I love honoring both, and for our Christmas, normally Christmas Day, I make a big breakfast. My son comes over, and Papa, of course, is there, and we open
He comes
presents.
over to
Yeah, he comes over. I allow him in the apartment.
just for that day, though.
Exactly. And then I'll clear off the breakfast stuff, and I'll start in on
Also doing dinner.
the dinner. So this year I decided I'm going to do the dinner on Christmas Eve.
Mm-hmm.
And
A lot of people do that. That's like
Yeah.
that's a pretty common thing.
yeah, there's usually a big sort of hoopla.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I know different countries have different traditions. I know in Prague, for instance, when I was there, they always have this fish.
Oh yes, I feel like fish is the last thing I'd want. Maybe because it's just like I'm not a fish person very much, so that's probably.
They do it because it's a very Catholic country, and you're still fasting on Christmas Eve.
Are you still fasting?
Yeah,
Oh,
so
okay.
leading up to like the whole Advent thing, it's a lot like Lent, not as severe. Like you don't have to
Say
pick
we
something.
never fasted. I remember fasting for Lent, kind of, but like never for.
Yeah, and Lent you usually pick something and you're going to give that
Yeah.
up, right? But it's not as bad. You know, it's not that it's a bad thing, but you know, you don't pick something for Advent, but usually there's days where you're not eating meat, for instance. So usually Wednesdays and Fridays are the traditional days.
Yeah.
Now Sundays are the day off, even in Lent. Sundays are the day when you can do the
So
thing
you
you've
can
given up.
indulge. So cheat days have always existed, is what you're telling me.
Exactly. We need our cheat days, right?
Humans can't be 100% perfect. They needed one day to sin.
Exactly.
God forbid.
So I think that's part of the reason why they have the fish, right? Because they have it for dinner. Then they usually go to mass. Midnight mass is
Yeah.
very big there. And my grandma did it this way. Midnight mass, and then you come
I was
home.
just saying, then you have the big dinner, right?
And
I
then
was
you have
thinking,
the big dinner and you open your presents.
Oh, I know some people that do that.
Yeah.
It always seemed weird to me, but that's only because that's like that's not how we grew up, right?
Yeah.
So-
So it's interesting. And the other thing Prague doesn't have in a lot of countries in that area, they don't have Santa Claus. They do
remember you
get
telling-
presents, of course.
But they have like a Christmas angel, wasn't there? Something
Yeah,
like
there's a
that?
Christmas angel.
And they have whatever that other thing is.
Oh, the Black Jack or whatever it's
Yeah.
called. Yeah. I think that's mostly in Germany.
Oh, okay.
Uh,
And then there's some places that that's
The
not
Krampus.
Krampus, yeah. I was
Yeah.
thinking the Christmas pickle, but that doesn't have anything to do
Oh
with
yeah,
like,
that was a German thing too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
because you see those because it's getting more popular.
It is.
Because you see, I remember like going to the Dollar Tree or Dollar Store, and there was almost like a whole wall of like Christmas pickles.
Christmas pickles.
I was like, first of all, it's not my thing, just because once again we didn't grow up with
Yeah,
it. I'm like, I don't
no.
know if I'd really. I'm like, I mean, granted, maybe I would get a Christmas pickle because Lucy loves pickles, so she would probably appreciate a Christmas pickle.
Whenever I see them, I think of Rick and Morty
Oh.
and Pickle Rick, right? So that to me would just be a Rick
That'd
and
be-
Morty
I
thing.
was gonna say that would be good. I can definitely see.
Oh, I take another bite of my
I'm
donut.
gonna say the donuts are good, although I feel like they're definitely not as good as they used to be. And then
Yeah,
maybe also because I'm spoiled with Coffee Way, so
Coffee Way does have better donuts.
I like their Boston cream because they're big and they're doughy and they're just.
I know it's so good, so good.
Yeah.
But I had the gift certificate for Tim Hortons,
How
so
dare you?
I was using that.
No, that's fair. I mean, you might as well get something for free.
Mm-hmm.
A free donut is better than a really good donut that you have to pay for.
There you go. There
Only
you go.
because it's free.
That sounds magical.
Yeah, that
Totally.
sounds so accurate. That's what everyone does, right?
Yeah, exactly. Go away, you.
Go
Whoever.
away, you. Not the people watching this.
Not the, I'm
Go
not
away,
speaking
you.
to the audience.
She's speaking to her phone.
So I'm kind of excited about 2025 because, as you know, I do a New Year reading.
Yes, which he still need to do for me.
I've got to do for you. Yep, absolutely.
and her own daughter, and I don't even get the
Shoemaker's children, everyone.
Exactly. Precisely.
But I have found that 2025, because as you know, I do a lot.
Yeah.
It's one of my most popular. I've probably done hundreds
It's
of
one
them.
of it's. I find it's your busiest time of the year,
It is.
which is surprising because you think Halloween, and Halloween is busy for you,
Mm-hmm.
but your Christmas time is
December is
like
insane.
is way busier for the New Year's Eve. I always want to say New Year's Eve every time. New Year's reading.
Yeah. Yeah, and like over the holidays, I had a lot of people booking in.
Yeah, and then usually this time of year can be busy too because it's always everyone who like didn't get in before
Exactly.
or who like found out too late or just like life got delayed. Like Christmas is such a busy time where like
Yeah.
that time of year is just busy.
So I do that New Year's reading only in December and January
because yeah,
because it's the gateway, right? So I have found thus far 2025 because I do hundreds of them. I
Hundreds.
can start to see
patterns,
patterns
trends, yeah.
because I saw COVID
Yeah.
before it happened, right? And I'm finding that this year has been very hopeful for a lot of people.
I've been noticing that because like I have a bunch because my algorithm on Instagram
Right.
is very targeted to various types of topics. One of them being tarot. So I took a bite at the wrong time.
No, that's okay. We're eating donuts and sipping
We're
coffee.
hungry.
So you're welcome to join us.
Take a minute.
Take a
Take a
minute.
bite of your food.
Yeah, enjoy some nourishment, whatever
While we
form
take
that
this
might
intermission.
be. Yeah, exactly.
No, but so I get a lot of different readings. A lot of them are usually like of the day or the month or whatever, and it's all collective. So of course you have to take everything with a grain of salt because it's hard to read for a whole collective.
It is, yeah.
But a lot of the things I've been seeing is like it is like very positive, hopeful, new change, new job. You're seeing the results of something you've been working towards.
Yeah, this is a
financial,
reaping
yeah,
year.
very much like financial gain, or you're getting that promotion, you're getting whatever it is you're looking for, whatever it is that you've been seeking or putting out there or wishing for seems to be is going to be coming within this year. From what I'm seeing from like
even I've been seeing it personally because like over the holidays, sometimes I get a few that will book in or they've already booked in from December.
oh for the new year or whatever.
But over the holidays, every day I was hearing my phone cha-ching, cha-ching,
Pew,
cha-ching, and I'm
and then
like,
she was out there spending it. No.
no, I mean it rolls in behind me, so I haven't received it yet, but that's just
But see, you're reaping.
but I'm reaping and I'm getting some big chunks of money coming in because people have been booking and buying on the website, right?
Nice.
So-
Score.
Score, definitely. Because January definitely is a busy month for me.
Yeah.
But then it totally dies
I was gonna say
down.
then after that I would say like it's pretty.
Yeah,
After-
February can be big, and I have
I
some
was gonna say
promotions
yeah,
happening. That
because yeah,
the past life regression.
Past off regression, and then of course that's a big one for love.
Yes, love
Shocking.
readings. Yeah.
February about love.
Yes.
I couldn't tell you the reason
exactly.
why.
So we thought we would do a couple of Reddit stories.
Oh yes. Let me grab my
About the
food.
holidays. Now I know the holidays have gone by, and I know it can be rough for a lot of people.
And like, but let's be honest. That Monday was just little Christmas. So
yes, yeah. So
just was
it
all-
officially ended on Monday.
Yeah.
This is the thing that a lot of people forget. They build up to this one day.
People are
And I
yeah.
think that contributes to those blues or the downswing that you get after
Well,
Christmas.
yeah, I think it's hard too because like, and this is coming from someone who loves Christmas.
Right.
Love Christmas.
Yes.
But some people like I always find it weird. Like I have done this in past years, but it does feel like it drags out too long. People will do it like immediately after Christmas, like November 1st. They have their Christmas
Yeah.
decorations up, and I'm not saying don't like maybe put something up if it feels it, but don't
Yeah.
put it all up. It just is too.
Take your time.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just do a little bit here and there. And that's what I did. Because like I said, I struggled this year. I was a little bit in the blues section. And I normally love Christmas. That's where she gets her love from.
Yeah.
My mother loved Christmas. So it's not
It's a
come by,
family. I was gonna say.
honestly. Yeah, exactly.
It's a trait through the family.
Exactly. But a lot of people forget that Christmas Day is actually the first day of Christmas.
It's the first day
It's
of the 12
partridge-
days of Christmas.
Yeah, you know the song, The Partridge in the Pear Tree? That's the first day. And then there's 12 more days. So really, traditionally speaking, Christmas wasn't celebrated until January 6th because that's when the wise men came to Jesus and gave them their presents, right? So normally on the 12th day is when, traditionally speaking, they got presents. But it also, the reason it changed was because of Queen Victoria. So it's called the 12th night.
That B word, no, I'm joking.
And she didn't like the 12th night because it was a night of excessive drinking and brawling and boozing and all that kind of stuff because it was the last night of Christmas.
So it was like, yeah, go wild.
Exactly. Because normally speaking, they partied all the way through.
Can you imagine? I mean, I say that while I also partied almost.
But it sort of started again on Christmas Day, and it kind of got a little bit bigger each time, right? Because, this is the 5th night of Christmas, blah, blah, blah. Now, there was a lot of mass going as well because,
you got to balance out the partying with some good Christian guilt there.
Exactly. So, Queen Victoria didn't like that 12th night. So she brought Christmas to the 25th of December and said, this is when we're doing presents and this is when the bigger celebration is going to happen.
Oh.
Now, that did not deter them that much from the boozing on the 12th night.
Shocking. They didn't want to continue their party binge.
Yeah. The Celtics stopped drinking? No.
Well,
if you're Irish, Scottish, or British, you don't. The beer is always there.
Yeah, it's always just part of the blood system.
Like
apparently.
a beer fest, the Germans in there. They're like, yeah, we just beat the Irish. I think we're pretty good. Have you ever seen the movie Beer
It's
Fest?
been a long time since I've seen that movie, honestly.
It's a funny movie. Very funny.
It is.
So just to let you know, Christmas is not one day, and we build it up to one day.
Mm-hmm.
And I know people that will tear down their trees on Boxing Day.
Well, I saw someone that was like being like, "Oh, I'm taking everything down Christmas Day." It was like they didn't even get themselves like.
Yeah.
First of all, where are you getting that energy?
Yeah.
Because Christmas, I'm like, I'm done.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't want to do anything extra.
Yeah.
I'm just chilling.
Yeah.
I've had the food. Now I just sit and bask in the enjoyment.
Yes, exactly. And like real tree versus fake tree. I like the fake ones now because one, they come pre-lit for the most part. I usually add extra lights.
Yeah.
Because it's just not enough, right?
It's not enough, yeah.
And when we were at my sister's place, they always get a big real
Oh yeah,
tree.
even they were complaining. Yeah, they get a massive tree. I've never seen a tree as big. I can't imagine how much it must cost, to be honest.
He gets it.
Oh, right, because he helps. I forgot that.
Yeah,
That helps
so he
a lot.
doesn't have to pay for it.
Does that mean he's not going to do it anymore with the fact that because they're talking about getting a fake tree?
Yeah, because they can't hang half their decorations
Because it's too heavy, right?
And it's a bitch to get decorations onto a real tree, and it's even a bigger bitch to get them off.
And God
because
forbid,
then you're vacuuming pine needles.
pine needles forever, and God forbid
until
if you
June
get
30th.
stabbed in you.
Oh my
and
gosh,
then,
yes.
you're way more likely to break your ornaments because
yeah.
it's not as easy to I find it's not as easy to secure.
Yes.
Especially if those really important ones. You
Yeah.
want to put on the tree. They're like, okay, this is really breakable.
A lot of sentimental value to it.
Yeah,
and-
exactly.
Yeah, for sure. But I love the new fake trees.
I do fake
and
trees.
you can get the little center things, and you can hang them
or
on
just
the
a
tree.
candle, even.
Just a candle. But I had the scented things last year, and I really felt like I had a real tree in my house because it
I've
smelled
used them before.
so.
They're pretty good. Yeah,
They are really good, and that's the main reason I would have a real tree is for the scent of it.
Yeah,
Right.
As I say, the scent for a real tree is what I go for. I mean, technically, they do say a real tree is overall more environmental, but if you keep your
tree year after year, I
if
had
you keep
one
it
that
for a really
was
long,
10
if
years
you keep
old.
it around, if you keep it for a really long time, I think the problem is a lot of people are bad for buying a tree and then maybe getting a new one another year, throwing it out, or some people will return them. They'll buy them there are people who will buy them and then return them.
God.
So of course that's a huge waste of resources because of course the production to make it, the gas to travel, all the things that add
Yeah,
up.
because I would have thought it would be more environmentally friendly to have the
Well,
fake
the
one
idea is that
if you keep it.
Yeah.
And some of these shady things that people do would never even cross my mind.
Oh, trust me, I know. When I saw that too, I was like, I would never think to do that.
Yeah, me neither.
I'm
I've used it, so therefore I cannot return it.
Yeah, it's unless there was an actual issue with it. I'm
Yeah.
okay, well this is ridiculous. I just bought this.
You plug it in and half the lights don't work.
Yeah, then I would be okay. this needs to go, or I need to get, or at least to get exchanged. I wouldn't necessarily return unless that's all I could do.
Yeah.
Because I didn't have a new one I wanted.
Yeah.
Then
me too.
I would return it. But otherwise, I'm like, I couldn't be like, I'm just buying this for now, and then like I'll take my money back later. Like it just
That's awful.
yeah.
Awful.
Yeah.
Like, and then they wonder why our economy's in the toilet.
Well, and also
I mean,
wonder
not that
why
the
there's more and more
return.
policies regarding like returns and exchanges.
Yeah.
Because that's why the reason why Costco, at least here where we are, and like other places too,
Walmart has clamped down on like you used to be able to return anything. You could bring a used diaper and say I need to return this.
Costco's taken their books because Costco's still really good for their return policy.
Yeah.
Walmart's still pretty good too.
Yeah, they are, but they're not like you could.
They're
Like
not,
I said,
they're
you
not
could return
as
anything.
they're not as crazy. Like they have a bit more stipulations, but they're still pretty good. And so is Costco, but they got rid of the books because people would buy the books, read the books, return the books.
Oh, really?
And so it was like treating it like a library.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's not okay.
No.
You can't do that.
I was wondering why there weren't books.
They got rid of it because that's people were doing that. So they got rid of it. People who just want to abuse the system, like, come on. If you have a Costco membership, you probably are okay to like buy the book.
Yeah.
Let's be real.
But really, like, what the hell is wrong with people?
I don't know. It was really annoying. But on the tree thing, I also prefer fake. Partly because I think I'm slightly allergic to pine.
Oh, okay.
Every
okay.
time I would like do stuff, anytime I touch it, I get really reactive to it.
Oh.
So I just,
Well, yeah. So
pine
is out for
Pine
her.
is that. We've always had a fake tree since Aida and I've been together.
Yeah.
And a few times I've had a real tree because one time Namusa had like this plant thing and she was like, "Oh, can you help me like decorate a pine?" I'm like, "Oh, sure, no problem."
And you walked away with
I was
welts all over you.
I'm like, Aida, my hands are so itchy.
Oh,
and he was
God.
like, "Yeah, that's why we
Don't use Pine Sol because they have real pine oil in it.
Oh, see, when I use Pine Sol, I don't have a problem with it. It's something
Oh.
to do with like the tree and touching it.
Oh, maybe.
I did look it up and it did say like people tend to get sensitive to the needle pricks, like the pricks
Yes.
of the needle. But it feels like it lasts longer on me. So I don't know if
because
it's
when I would put the lights on the real tree, yeah, like you get all these pricks in your arm. Like
Your
this
arm-
is the most sensitive part of your skin.
Yeah.
That's why they tell you to test things there first.
Yeah.
Most people do not do that.
No, I do not. I'm one of those
This
people.
is hair color on you.
I never test the hair color.
I-
do one strand in the back, no one will see. I just slap it on. hope
I've
for the
only
best.
ever tested a couple of things, I think, but outside of that,
Not once. I think now that I'm older, maybe I would have.
Yeah.
There's been too many times where, like I just made a huge mistake, and had I just done a little test, maybe I would have known.
yeah, exactly.
Like I was just telling
Exactly.
that with someone about cookies. Who was I? I was talking to Diane about cookies, and I've been baking for a while,
Yeah,
but I saw
your
this.
sugar cookies were amazing.
Oh, thank you. I saw this thing recently, and I was like, "This is so smart. Why did I think of doing this?" So this person like will bake one cookie out of the batch to
yeah.
test,
I remember you
like
told me
whether or
that.
not the taste right, is it cooked temperature, all that stuff. And I was like, bloody hell, that's the smartest fucking thing
Yeah,
ever.
because you put a whole batch in, it comes out like
and then you ruin a whole dozen
Yeah,
or so.
yeah, exactly.
And so I was like, that is like, it's such a stupid small piece of advice that everyone should think of, but you don't. And so now that's like,
you don't until you hear about it, or like, how did I not know this at this age or
Yeah.
whatever. I have a similar thing with junk journaling when I was watching videos on how to do junk journaling because I love to do it, and I was cutting everything out just so and very precise, and that's called fussy cutting and
fussy cutter.
and
She's
there,
a fussy cutter.
fussy cutting is a little looser. Then there's another term for really tight, like
Oh, if you're like very like getting it sharp and whatever.
exactly. And then I was watching this one girl, and she took up a picture like that you get, and she ripped it right in half, and it looks so cool when she put it on the paper, and then she put the stuff around it. I'm like, I have never thought to rip a face or a pumpkin or
It's like,
whatever
oh
in
my
half.
God.
I needed to see it to give myself permission to do it.
It's sometimes like, yeah, you do kind of get like weirdly stuck into like how you do things. You're like, this is how I've always done it.
Yeah.
This is how it's supposed to be. And then you see something else, it's like, well, that makes logical sense. I should have thought of that myself, but I never thought you could.
Yeah, it's such a cool technique. Why did because I was so precise and everything, and I was like, it's feeding my Virgo, my rising Virgo. That's my rising sign in astrology. But Virgo still loves the ripped paper and the because with junk journaling, you have to be
Like kind of meticulous. Or?
meticulous and kind of into the detail of things.
Yeah,
it's small
'cause
little
like
details.
Every little thing just has like its own part that plays, and
Yeah, because like a lot of people will like, for instance, I do my bags, right? So
she's got bags
Do I
on
have
bags on
bags?
bags.
Not good.
Not that one.
not that one. That's a horrible one. Well, like something like this, right? So there you go.
Little things.
Little things.
Shopaholic.
But people are like, how do you know, to put this here and put that there?
She just shakes it all up and then throws it on wherever it lands.
Yeah,
on
I
the
mean,
shelf.
like it's sort of, that's one of the things you can't teach.
Yeah,
You
that's
can show
true.
people how to do junk journaling, but you can't teach the part of just have the instinct to put bling here and a sticker there or a piece of paper there and meld them all together,
Yeah.
right? But that's my favorite part of junk journaling. I love putting that picture together
Yeah,
and the mediums
and
together.
how it all comes one together
Yes. So,
in the perfect golden.
and then my Aries says, hurry up and do it.
Go, 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 go! Why are you taking so long?
Exactly.
Hurry up! She
This is
really loves the
taking
tear part
forever.
because the tear takes a
Yeah.
lot faster than.
It's the Aries that's tearing things.
Let's get this fucker done.
exactly. Oh my
Yeah, but
goodness.
Aquarius is a bit like that. We're a bit impatient.
I did a lot of crafts over Christmas, my Christmas holiday.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
good.
yeah. I did a new. I got this really cool box of cards that goes through different granny squares that you can do.
Oh, that's so cute. I love that.
Yeah, so I picked a couple of cards and I just did one so far.
Do they like different types of colors or like designs or like types?
Designs.
I
So
love that.
I don't know if
I saw like this cool thing about like doing a granny square for every book you read in the year, and then you have a blanket after.
Oh, that's
And
cool.
I was like, oh, I really like that. I was like, oh, maybe I'll do that. But I have,
So this is part of one of the granny squares. It kind of screwed up a little bit, but I thought,
oh,
I'll
that's
keep it.
cute.
So it's a flower, and then,
and then
you
you'll like do
the
this
border.
border around it.
Yeah.
I love that.
So I've got about 6 or 7 of those kind of granny squares because I finished off my blanket. I meant to bring it in to stretch it out because I put it
Oh,
up
yeah,
on
you gotta-
Facebook, and people were asking, "Can you spread it out so we can see it?"
Oh, I thought you were gonna say
Fully.
you're gonna do what is it? The
So there's
But-
my little flower that I learned how to
is it?
do.
blocking it. I thought you meant you were gonna block it.
Oh, no. So I've already put it together. I used it last night to keep me warm. And so I meant to spread it out because I just had it as a little pile.
Yeah, just to show off. I remember seeing that picture. Yeah.
Yeah, and people were loving the colors and all that kind of stuff. So
let's see it.
I don't make a lot of blankets for myself. So this year I finished a blanket just for me.
It's like, that's my blanket.
Yeah.
No one else can take my blanket.
Exactly.
I haven't made a blanket in a while.
Yeah, I love making blankets. It's a mindless thing for me.
Yeah.
And even this, although I have to do some counting when I'm doing it, that's why I screwed this one up.
How God, she doesn't like to count.
Well, when you're watching TV,
You do. That's why it's good to have the count, like the
count things.
count things. I think I'm used to it because with cross stitching too, you do a lot of counting.
That's true. You
So
do.
like you
do.
mean, you do have to double check. Like sometimes
Yeah.
if I'm counting like 50,
yeah.
I'm like, all right.
That's always. Where are we?
Well, I get in the habit, depending on how I have to count.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm like, for instance, if I'm doing like a row
Yeah.
and I'm doing it, I'll put an X every 10. So
Oh,
every 10th,
okay.
I put an X.
That's smart.
So I know, okay, 10, 20,
That's very
30.
smart. In all these years, I have never thought
You
to
can
do
break
that.
it down to 5s too if you count that way too. but
Yeah, exactly. Oh, that's amazing.
That's a way for you to keep track. Because like really,
What's worse though is when you've done a whole row, come back, you've done another little bit or whatever, and then you look at the diagram and you're like, "Fuck, I screwed that up."
I've done that. I'm like,
Where you're like a row ahead of what you're supposed
Oh.
to be because you just mislooked at it.
you know, you just like looked wrong and then you just placed at the wrong spot.
You're
And
like,
then-
"Look at me, just go."
Exactly. And then you like debate, like depending on how far you are in the piece or what you've done, you're like, how
I put pieces away because I'm like, Yeah, we're done.
I've done that too. Like, I just like, no. I don't have the patience to frog this right now. So we're gonna go. I always have something else going on. So I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm just gonna pick up this one that I put off to the side. That I'm pretty
exactly.
sure also has a mistake, but at least I have the energy to deal with that one right now.
It's like, okay, we can fix this one.
We've
This
dealt
one-
with the emotional trauma of this piece, so we'll
You're
process.
triaging, you're cross stitching.
Oh my god, it's awful.
But it's so discouraging
It
when that
is.
happens.
I've done that before.
And you're like, I don't want to undo this work, so I'm just gonna put the work aside.
There was
and
like
move on.
yeah, my one piece. What was it? I have like the pandemic piece I was working on.
Okay.
I didn't notice until like I was doing this huge piece, and I was like, God, something's not lining up. Like,
Oh no.
I don't understand. It's like, and this is like this pattern is like complicated, but also simple because it's there's no color changes because it's just like it just shows you the
Oh.
pattern, and then you
Okay.
can choose the color however you want.
Okay.
And now I went simple and just picked one color
Yeah.
that I'm doing throughout.
Right.
Or technically, it's two colors, but they're very similar.
Oh, okay.
And then, like, I just kind of pick and choose how I want to do it.
Okay, cool.
And so, but the pattern itself is complex. Like, it's from Long Dog Studios. If you're watching this, you can check them out. Very cool patterns. But it is complex.
Yeah.
Because it's like it's massive. It's the biggest piece I've ever done.
Okay. Wow.
huge.
Yeah,
It's-
big pieces are challenging.
It's huge. I've done
and
like
a little intimidating.
it's to put in context, it's I think a 28-page pattern. I finished the first page and I'm on the second. I'm almost not quite done the second page.
And sometimes I lose it when I'm like when it's a multi-page.
Yeah, there's
You're
not
like, okay, how does this
they
marry
do
to this?
they do have overlap, but
good.
they do have overlap, and because I think I've been reading like digital patterns for so long, and I am more familiar with like things being broken down, but there's still a risk because like
Yeah.
you can't see it as a whole. And then they do have a picture that has it like done whole, but they don't have it where it's like
Yeah.
as a digital whole, which I prefer when they do that, but I get why, because it's hard to get like all of that onto
Of course,
a
yeah.
thing,
You'd
but-
be like with a magnifying glass going, okay.
Well, if it's digital, you can like zoom in, but if you have a pattern, like it'd be gigantic piece
Yes,
of paper.
Yeah, exactly.
Or you're right. Zoom is like having to get like
Even on the Zoom, you're still getting the magnifier.
it would be difficult. But I remember like I was doing this whole section, and I was like, why is it not lining up? I can't figure out why it's not lining up.
no.
I realized like I did something. I still don't think I had it quite right. Like something was still quite wrong, but I was able to like MacGyver it together. But I had
Okay.
to then do this huge section
Oh no.
that I had done to then fix it so then it would line up appropriately, and still even then I think something was not quite right, but I was like,
Yeah.
this is fine, this is minor, like it's and then
Yeah.
I'm not gonna notice it, no one else is gonna notice it, but I was
I
like,
often ask that myself. Is like, is anyone going to notice that I made the mistake
oh
here?
my god, no one's
If I just put a couple of extra, red X's here, then it'll look normal.
oh yeah, I've done that on so many things. I'm like sometimes you just MacGyver it, 'cause
Yeah.
like, it ain't fucking worth it.
I'm making it work.
It really depends. Like if it's something that's like, okay, I know this is gonna be obvious. I
Yeah.
know it's gonna bother me or whatever.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
like, no, we gotta fix this.
Yeah.
We gotta change this.
Yeah.
But if it's not gonna be something that is gonna bother someone, or if it's not gonna be noticeable,
No one's
then
going to see it except
one's
you,
gonna see-
maybe.
And even then, you might forget because I didn't
Yes.
even realize on the one piece it was wrong until I was trying to line things up, and I was like, wait, but this should start here. And
Yeah.
this should start here. Because I was like, you try
I
to
mean-
count off other spots, right? So
Right,
you can,
right.
And I was like, wait.
Because I did an angel not too long ago, and of course it was a fall angel, so it had a few like falling, what looked like falling leaves. Of course, I realized I didn't quite get them right, but I'm like, no one's gonna fucking
No one's
notice,
gonna know.
right?
That's like a different thing. That's
Yeah.
totally, like no one's caring. Like I've done a piece where it was like a peacock. It had a background, and the background wasn't full coverage. It had like it was kind of like meant to look like shadowing or like just like different texture. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I definitely don't think I did it all right. But I'm like, no, who's knowing? Like
Yeah,
it
no.
looks the same regardless if I follow it exactly.
I think I put in a couple extra leaves in fact.
And sometimes that looks good.
Yeah, I'm making it my own.
Exactly. It's no craft ever goes perfectly. Everyone
No.
has a twist, or you're like, this
That's the
didn't
thing
quite
about
turn out.
crafting is you have to be able to like
Adapt,
adapt,
adjust,
adjust.
correct,
It's the
Cry.
survival code, right?
throw things at the wall,
Yeah.
curse the world,
Exactly.
think you're a big idiot, how horrible you are.
Your sobbing technique is always good
Yes,
to.
tissues should always be close.
Yeah, yeah. Because there
Comfort
will be crying.
snacks, comfort snacks.
Yes, exactly.
Maybe a partner who can, snuggle
Yeah.
you up when things get real
Your
rough.
favorite comfort movie lined up in
Yeah.
case you're just like,
Exactly.
fuck this, I'm
I
watching a
just need to
movie.
zone out. Fuck the world. Fuck crafting. Never doing it again.
So stupid.
Why do I bother with this shit? Can't do anything right.
Yeah, so I learned that new technique. I finished
love
a
that.
blanket. I'm in the middle of finishing a cross stitch project that I was hoping to do for Christmas, but didn't quite work out. Probably coming to you on your birthday.
Oh, yay for me. Yay. That's why I was just laughing because I also have some Christmas stuff. I literally was like, I have that felt like Santa piece I've been working on.
Oh,
So it's a
yeah.
felt like embroidery, whatever.
Yeah.
And it's supposed to be, it's a Christmas calendar. It's supposed to be advent calendar.
Oh, okay, nice.
I didn't realize I got it in 2020. I've been working on this thing
Yeah.
for
right.
fucking years. I'm like, oh, this will be so great to count down Christmas, and it'll be so nice to hang up. And like around Christmas, I always do a little bit, and I'm like, this will be the year I finish it. I'm gonna finish it this year.
Yeah, because like
I
for
haven't even
whatever
finished
reason,
the top part of it.
I know people that do crafts and they're starting the Christmas stuff now.
Yeah,
Right.
well, you have to.
But I'm like, oh no, I can start in November. Have plenty of
I'll
time.
be fine.
And it's like, and plus I'm not in the Christmas mood.
Yeah, well, exactly. Like sometimes I know I have like a few other cross stitch things. I have ornaments I had started that I hadn't finished. I was like, oh, I'm gonna finish these so quickly. But then I was like, oh, well, I don't want to finish them too quickly because I want to enjoy them. And I have one not finished and one not even started. So I don't know what I was thinking. I still have a fucking advent calendar I've never finished. I have two other Christmas cross stitch I've never finished. We'll get there.
They'll be handed down to your girls on your deathbed. I finally finished this.
Keep it forever. Took me all my life. I just did the final stitch.
It took 30 years to finish, but here you go.
Here you go. It's a cherished memory. Keep it well.
Yeah, I probably have a lot of half done or half started or not started.
Yeah, you see that a lot, like in the cross stitch groups, or even like not just cross stitch. I think cross stitch because cross stitch has been around so long, and it's one of those things you can keep.
Yes.
And like and you see, but like it's crafting in general, you see that where half projects are done, and then people will like either get it from like a family member or they'll buy it from someone who sold it because they're like maybe no one in the family does it.
Yeah.
And so now they're like trying to figure out how to like do the finish off the piece if they want or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. Like I rotate. I think that's my Aries coming through because Aries has an attention span of a gnat, and but my Virgo really plays in there and makes the Aries finish things. So I'm good about that. I'm not. Like, of course, I have a lot of half-finished craft projects, but I'm not
who
too
doesn't?
bad. But yeah, exactly. But I do have a yarn cupboard, and I have like, I've looked at all the colors and go, okay, when I make this blanket, I'm gonna put these together.
Yeah.
But I've got 20 blankets in there, ready to go, because I've got the yarn ready for
It's
it.
like any moment. See, I don't keep yarn as much. I used to have a big bin of yarn, and then it was just taking up so much space, and I hadn't been doing crocheting. It was my purging phase, so I got rid of it.
Oh,
I kind of
okay.
regret, but at the same time, like I don't even know where I would have put it now.
Right? Yeah.
So I do have a little bit of yarn, but not much.
Yeah, I have a whole craft room. So I'm very organized. So I've got the yarn cupboard. I've got my jewelry cupboard.
No, I never got jewelry. That's something I never got
I
into.
love doing jewelry. Again, it feeds my Virgo thing. Junk journaling is the massive one.
Yeah, that's your go-to.
Oh.
That's your.
Well,
I've
not
never-
only that, but there's just so much that you could potentially use for
Junk
junk
journaling.
journaling. And every junk journaler I've ever watched or met or whatever is like, yeah, you look at paper in a different way, and you look at stickers, and you look at
Everything
all
is
the
different.
embellishments, and you're like, oh, I could use that. Oh, I could use that. And
And so before you know it, you're like, I have a conglomerate of stuff.
it's like, I need a storage bin for my junk
I
journaling
know.
stuff. That and what cross stitching. I have a cross stitching section. And I
Mine's just
do
a big
have.
corner in my room that's turned into a huge mess.
Oh,
I have to
okay.
reorganize it.
Yeah, you should get one of those craft cupboards or something.
I have a trolley, but it gets overfilled, so I have to
Yeah.
I have to rethink it and reorganize it. Because like usually cross stitching, embroidery,
Because if you had a little
Or-
bookcase or something,
yeah,
like a thin one, like one of those,
yeah, that
where
would be
you
a
could
bad
put
idea.
a lot of your supplies that you don't always use all the time.
Yeah,
But you can see it, right?
see you.
Like for me, I like to be able to see it. That's my
Yeah.
ADHD, I think.
See, I have a good memory for what I have, so
Right.
like I'm not too bad if I don't see it. I don't forget about.
Oh,
Typically,
okay,
if
okay.
I have it, I'll know. It's just
Yeah.
a matter of where the f did I put it in this pile of my
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah. And
Um,
I'm very organized. Again, that's my Virgo. Virgo loves to organize stuff, right? So everything in my junk journal section, if I can't see it, it's labeled in a box,
Oh,
and I know
see.
exactly. I put down exactly what's in that box.
It's all up in here.
No,
Like,
I am good about, like, oh, where is this? Like, because Kayla has said that about here. She's like, if someone asks you, where is this? I can pick it out in 10 minutes.
I'm pretty good about that. I'm not perfect because it's hard. I find as a parent too, a mom and a wife
Yes.
to a husband who forgets a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
You have to remember so many things. That's things you can't remember it all. I'm usually pretty good, and I've
Yeah.
always had a pretty good memory for things like that. But I'm
Yeah.
not. I find like sometimes I'm
And-
not as good as I used to be because I just too much to keep in
It
my
is.
head.
It's like, okay, things are like it's like a pot boiling over.
Yeah.
right? It's like-
Well, it's like remembering everything you have in the house, so you know the inventory of all the
Yeah.
food and the cleaning, all that stuff.
Yeah.
Plans, kids' appointments, anything to do at the school, things they need for the school, their
Yeah.
lunches, anything in the house,
where
like
their socks are.
where their socks are, like everything is just like okay, it's like. It's like there's only so much room.
Exactly. Yeah, because I used to do that too, of course,
Yeah.
because that's what moms do.
Yeah.
And when you guys moved out of the house, I was like, okay, I don't have as much to remember.
Yeah.
So I was remembering a lot for Papa because he too also forgets.
I've never met someone that's forgetful. He has ADHD, so I mean,
Yeah,
There's
he
some
does.
past there.
He's a textbook ADHD. But
Through and through.
anyways, I have stopped doing that for him.
well, he has to learn somehow.
He does have to learn, and he goes through phases where he's very organized. Yeah, like this is where I put my keys in this bowl, and
Yeah.
I put my wallet here, and blah blah. But every once in a while, he'll step off of that, and he won't know where he's
And then
put
he's just
anything.
completely disorganized. And,
Oh yeah, and he
lost.
goes to panic mode, right? Because
Yeah.
he usually loses something important, like his
Yeah.
phone or his wallet or his keys.
something, and it's always like just before he's to go, and he doesn't have much time, and he needs it. I get like that too, but I think that's alert behavior for him.
He lost a pair of pants the other
Oh
day.
my god, that
he-
sounds like something I would do.
And he's like, I can't find the pants I want to wear. And I'm like, well, like, okay, so he lost where his wallet was. He found it.
Okay, that's
This
good.
is all in one day.
You should get an air tag for him for his stuff.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
And it
And
beeps.
and
Beep, beep, beep.
and he lost his pants. And he lost that he
For
found
the wall and the
he
pants
found,
together?
He found
That's what
another
Isaac does.
pair of pants
Oh,
to wear.
okay.
He wasn't happy about them. He called them his mom jeans
Oh my god.
because they're more for
He's-
around the house.
I
but-
know. He makes me laugh though. He's like very particular about how he appears.
Oh, absolutely. And then he put the pants on, his other pants, and then he couldn't find his belt. So he's in panic mode about the belt, right? So it's like, oh my God, get yourself organized, right? And he loses his socks
It's
on a
hard though because
regular.
you do have some days like that where like everything is gone. I can't find anything.
But it's almost every day.
That would be hard. That would be hard.
And when we went out, came back home. He went over to his office corner that
just
he
trying
had.
to see if we could find the stuff.
No,
or-
no,
oh,
he was just, we came home.
no,
we-
just chilling. Okay.
Yeah, we're just chilling. And he's like, oh, here's those pants. I was like,
Why is his pants on his desk?
I know, right? It's like, what the fuck are they doing under your desk? Like, what are you doing under your desk? Your pants end up there.
That sounds like something that kids would do. And Ella has a really bad habit of taking her pants off. Basically, anytime my kid goes to the washroom, she comes out naked. And I'm like, and then you go in the bathroom and all the clothing's on the bathroom floor. I'm like, why? You have to go past the room you put all their clothing in to go.
So
So,
like Papa, like he'll come home and he'll go to the washroom after work or whatever, right? and then he'll come walking by me in just his underwear.
I was telling that to Ayanda because I was like telling him like I was like because me and Ayanda don't like walk around naked very often. I mean we do like sometimes, but it's
Yeah.
not super often. It's hard to avoid it because you have a small house, but
Yeah,
or a
yeah.
small apartment really.
Yeah, yeah.
But I was like, but during normal hours when you would normally be clothed,
Yes.
we have our clothing on. And I was like, and when Ayanda comes home, he does not get undressed. He might like change into like sweatpants or something or
Right,
whatever.
yeah, yeah.
Takes off his dress shirt, just has a t-shirt on.
Yeah.
But he's
I mean, that's part of the reason why Papa walks by me in just his underwear.
Yeah.
But then he stays in just his
well, I was
underwear.
just saying, I was like, but we still stay clothed.
Yes, yeah.
And I'm like, growing up, I'm like, I don't have a single memory of my father not in his underwear on the couch. I'm like, you couldn't invite friends over because he could be naked on the couch.
Exactly.
I mean, he was never naked, but
no, but nevertheless, you don't want your friends
I'm
seeing
like,
your dad
in
in his underwear.
And so I'm like, we don't do that. Like the kids have had some friends over recently. And I'm like, they don't have to worry about potentially seeing an old naked man on the couch
Exactly.
because he decided I don't like clothing at all. I need to apparently be free.
Yeah, and then he'll complain that he's cold.
It's so true. And then he'll get a blanket and be like,
Yeah.
It looks like some golem.
Yeah, he does.
Because it does help too, because he sits like him too. Because he likes to have his knees up. So
Yeah, he can't do that anymore. His knees are going on him.
Oh, probably for doing. I'm bad for that. I do that a lot too. I sit with my legs up. Not both, but usually one.
Right. Yeah,
But-
because he used to, at the store that we had, he used to sit on a stool and put one of his knees up under him, right?
Oh, okay.
And his dad would say, "Don't sit like that. It's gonna hurt your knees." And he's like, "I should have listened to my dad because now he's got some."
He's got to do some knee
Sword.
mobility stuff.
Yeah, I got him a massager for Christmas
Oh, that's
for the
good.
new thing. But he's used it a couple times. He's like, "Yeah, no, I like it," but he's like something about it not being quite big enough. Or
he has
whatever.
to do. There's straightening stuff you can do for your knee muscles.
Yes,
to
yes.
help with your knee stuff. Because I was doing that because I was having issues with my knees.
Yeah,
And
because
I
I
didn't want that to be a continuing problem. So I was
Yeah.
like, I gotta work on that.
Yeah, because I used to do knee strengthening exercises a lot. Because in high school I did a lot of sports, and one of my knees in soccer just got wrecked.
Ooh.
And then I also did baseball, and I was catcher for a little while, and one of the girls threw her bat, and it connected with my
Why? You're not supposed to throw your bat like that.
No,
I thought
you're
You're
not.
supposed to just
No.
drop it and then go,
knee. You
right?
are supposed to drop it, but some people throw
the
it
idea
if
is,
they don't know what they're doing.
I was gonna say, you're not supposed to throw because the idea is there's usually people behind you.
And it connected with my knee, which my coach was not happy about because I was one of the best hitters, and I could pinch hit.
What does that mean?
So I could hit left-handed or right-handed.
Oh, gotcha.
So he got a pinch runner for me because he didn't want to take me off the roster.
We need you. But
So-
we'll get you a different runner.
Like, you stand there on one leg and you hit the ball, and then we'll get a runner to go for you. And
And that girl's gonna be benched for the rest of the season.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, because there's not really a lot of penalties in baseball.
No,
Like,
I
it's not
guess
like
there's
go to
not.
a penalty box.
It's very hard to, and there's a lot. I always find there's lots of skeevy things that happen in baseball.
Well, there's lots of skeevy stuff that happens in every sport.
That's true.
You know, like the things they try to get away with, right? You know,
That's
like if you've
true.
ever watched a soccer game or a basketball game, they're always like, "Oh, you hurt me so bad." You know?
Soccer in particular.
Yeah, it's like, "Oh, my leg." Ah. And then they're just drama queens out there. I mean, soccer players, I do have to say, are probably some of the fittest athletes
Yeah, well,
ever.
they're constant cardio. You're running all the
know.
time. I can't imagine the lung capacity.
I spent a night at a bar with an Italian soccer player or football player.
Football player.
And-
Fancy.
Man, like they're not built guys, but
No, they're very they're
so-
runners' bodies.
yeah,
basically.
but holy jumpins! I was like, man,
They're very lean. 'Cause
they
don't
are
have
very lean.
they're running.
and
all
he
the
didn't
time.
speak a word of English.
Oh, so
so
you
he
just
was-
had to speak with your bodies, did you?
We did, and everything he said in Italian sounded amazing. It was like, oh my goodness.
So you've been talking about the most boring thing ever, saying horrific things. You'd
Yeah.
be like, "I don't care, baby. Still keep talking."
Yeah, exactly. Oh my goodness. Yeah, that was a fun night.
I'm sure. It sounds like it was.
No, but yeah, constant cardio. And the soccer field is not a small field.
No, it's a massive field. Even when you're a kid,
It's massive.
it's massive. Like the amount of running you have to do. The kids get tired. I'm like, well, yeah, you're running up and down a fucking field.
Well,
It's
I
nowhere
was
the
lucky
size
because
of
I
a
usually
real
played
field.
defense, so I only could go halfway.
I always did that too because I didn't want to run all that. That's too much running.
But I was good at defense. I was very good at it. I did get into the goalie net a couple times. I hated it in the goalie net.
I didn't like the
Too
goalie.
much pressure. Too much
It's,
pressure.
and the net
It's
is
like-
massive.
It
No,
is.
even when you're a kid, it's
Even
like,
when you're like-
it's so big, and you're like, I barely cover a fraction of this thing.
Like hockey players have all kinds of stuff on them. They practically fill the net.
Yeah, you
know?
have very little space to fit a net of a
It
puck
takes
in there.
skill to get pucks past that
Yeah,
goalie.
basically soccer, you could just sneeze into it.
Exactly. It's like, just look at the ball and it goes
Yeah.
past
We
you because it's
If
like,
you miss, then you just don't know how to
it's
kick.
3 feet over that way that I have to protect and 3 feet over that way, and I'm only
And
protecting
then
this
God forbid
one
the
foot.
top part.
Yeah, the top part exactly.
So you have to be such a good jumper.
Yeah.
That's why you always see soccer players going,
Yeah, exactly. I mean, they're allowed to touch the ball. They're the only player that can.
yeah, well, you have to. God forbid.
Yeah.
You wouldn't catch anything.
No, you wouldn't. Yeah, exactly.
You have to
But-
be able to levitate.
Yes, your papa played soccer, he
I
said.
never knew you played soccer.
And
You
your
guys also-
papa is usually a very good athlete, except in soccer.
Oh,
Because-
soccer, his downfall, is it?
Yeah, he kicked the shit out of everyone's shins.
Oh, I do remember him saying that.
Yes, I'm like, oh, you're the player I hated.
I sometimes was bad for that, but only because as soon as the ball came to me, like, kick, get away from me. Like, I wanted immediately away from me.
Well, that's the whole purpose of the defense. Get it up
I
there.
was like, so I'm like, this needs to just go away. I'm actually not that bad because when we play, because the kids really like playing soccer, and we have like the field in front of our place.
Oh, yes.
So we often play soccer, and I was pretty good with his footwork too, actually.
Oh, that's
And
good.
I'm pretty good. I'm like surprised at how good I was. I was like, did I actually learn something when I played
Yeah,
soccer?
yeah,
'Cause
because
all
you
I-
played soccer as a
We
kid.
played soccer a lot when we were
Yeah.
kids. But all I remember is just standing there and being like, I want the ball away from me as fast. I don't ever
Once
remember
you
being-
got past the I'm picking wildflower stage, right? Like all
Yeah.
the little wee ones, that's all they do. They're like playing in the grass or
Yeah, you know-
picking flowers, and the ball goes by, and they're like,
Like, oh,
what was that?
was there something we're supposed to do?
It's a hilarious game to watch. The
I-
little kids.
I have that because when Lucy played soccer the first time, I think she was like 5 or something. I can't remember. Diane signed her up, and at that point, we didn't sign up Annabelle because I think she was too young still, maybe.
Oh, okay.
Or maybe they didn't have space or something. I can't remember.
Right.
But at the same time Lucy's soccer was going on, they had the even smaller kids on the other side.
Oh, okay.
They were hilarious. Like
Yes.
you see balls and they're just like walking in the opposite direction. They're like, okay, and like
Or they get the ball and they put it in their own
yeah,
net.
like it's just more so fun and just getting them used to hitting the ball, not
Yeah.
really doing a whole lot.
or they'll pick it up. Hey.
Yeah, there was a lot of pickup and running and then throwing. And then it's like, no, with your hand. Like there was a lot of like, now with your hands, your feet.
Yeah.
And they're like, what?
With
your feet!
Exactly. Well, I remember one year when you guys were playing, and it was, it was like your 3rd or 4th year in soccer.
Okay.
So you were a bit older. I mean, you weren't in double digits, I don't think yet.
I don't
but-
think we really played past double digits.
No, I don't think so either. But there were a couple of young boys that were on the team, and man, they were good.
There's always one that's like,
Yeah, like, did you just come out of the box doing this, or like,
Some
there's
just-
some kids that just
are
are good.
I think it's also too if they're like depending what their parents are into, right?
Yeah.
Because I remember when Lucy, the first year she did it, there was a boy who would kind of come like later on or something in the season, only there for like we were almost near the end, so I was kind of surprised. I'm like, it's only like 2, but obviously he really likes soccer. He
Yeah.
brought his own soccer. Well, actually no, they gave you a soccer ball, so he had his own soccer ball like as everyone else.
Yeah.
But he was like playing. I was like, my kid can barely understand what the fuck's going on, and you were like ready to go professional over there.
Yeah.
Like what the
You've got strategies.
yeah,
and-
like literally the footwork. I'm like, what the fuck is this?
I know, right? It's like,
I couldn't do that either.
Kudos to you.
Yeah, some people are just like inclined, but that's
Yeah.
like Lucy. Like she's a fast runner.
Yeah.
she'll be very good in track because she goes and she like. I remember one time we had like a play date. with a mom, and she brought her son, and the two girls, or my two girls were there, and they wanted to run. They wanted to do racing.
Oh, okay.
And Lucy and Amber go off, and immediately the mom's like, "Wow, they look like professional runners." And I was like, when she said that, I was like, "Actually, they do. Actually, like they looked like professional runners." I was like,
Yeah.
"Yeah, you're sure right." She's like, "They've got really good form." I'm like, well, they just naturally have that because I certainly didn't teach them
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
And then, but her son, he was a sweetheart, but he was so slow, and he was not a good runner. And
Oh, no.
And even the mom was trying not to laugh because you could just see like, oh,
He's all like,
he was like. I even told the girls like, "Hey, slow down a little bit."
Yeah.
And just maybe let him win one.
Yeah.
We know you guys
Give
are.
him one race. Come on.
We already know you guys, but like it was all good because we were just like we started being leaned towards. We're like, oh my god, look how fast our hearts racing
Yeah.
after, and less like oh Lucy and Amber won again. Lucy and Amber won again.
Yeah, because like I was in track as a kid too, and once they hit puberty, that's when you have
You had
to
to start watching them and how they run. You're right, because I remember I saw this girl. I was when you say that, I was thinking about this one girl. I haven't seen her for a while, probably because it's winter. But there was this girl who was running around. She was like, looks like she's like either late teens or early 20s. And she's a petite thing. She's small.
Mm-hmm.
But you could hear her running from a block away because of how she was slamming down.
Wow.
And I'm like looking at her. And like once again, I'm not like professional, but I'm like I do know some stuff. And I was like looking at her like, and she's like kicking out her legs, like the way she was running. She was like kicking out her legs, like you need someone to like teach you how to run. Because I'm like watching, I'm like you are gonna hurt yourself. Like you're fine now because you're young, but the way you're slamming down, like if I can hear you from a block
They
away.
say running is one of the most destructive things women can do to their bodies.
Yeah, well, I'm like thinking of like your knees and your hips and
Your
back,
boobs.
all that. Like whatever you're doing right now, the form that you're running in is not good for you. Like
No.
it's fine now because you're young, so you're not feeling it.
No,
But if you
but
keep-
it's one of those things that
If you keep doing this, you're gonna be way more sore even in your 30s. You're gonna
Yeah.
be feeling that you'll
Yeah.
feel like you're in your 40s.
if you can hear it, you're running like a toddler. But also, like you said, she's flipping her legs out. So I went to a runner's camp
Yeah.
to teach me how to run. It happened at Queens for track.
Always at Queens.
and they taught you how to run like a boy, basically, is what they said, because when boys hit puberty, their hips don't widen like women
Yeah.
do. So naturally speaking, when your hips start to widen, women tend to do the little flippy turtle thing
Yeah.
with their
Oh,
legs.
she was doing that to an extreme level.
Yeah, so you have to learn how to run straight.
Yeah, they tell you to just put your foot down. Like
Yeah.
people like you just pick it up, put it down, pick it up, put it down.
and
People
don't
like
slam it down.
no, don't slam it down. Like and like you have to like make sure you're putting the weight at all the right points. Like once again, I
Yeah.
don't know everything, so I'm not an expert.
No, but they were
like,
talking about how that shaves seconds off your run,
It shaves off
which
seconds.
can make a difference.
And also, it protects your body. Like
does
that's
protect
why
your
it's
body.
important also to like having stretching and making sure your
Yes.
body's aligned and you're holding your body in the right spot. Because women are bad for that too. For not just women, but like men can do it too. But
Yeah.
we're often taught as women to like
just
stick out
because
our
of our natural
yeah. Well, also too, just being
Body
taught like
shape.
being taught
Yeah.
like oh, you want your stomach sucked in and your butt out or something. So then we often naturally hold our bodies in the wrong spot. But you
Yes.
actually want to have your tailbone tucked in a certain way, your hips put back, so that way everything's more aligned
yeah
on top, and then
Yeah.
you're gonna be better to like do
the straightforward. Now
Yeah.
my mother, because she was Mohawk, she
She always taught us, yeah,
taught you to walk like a Mohawk, which is one foot after the other, because the warriors walk like that.
Yeah.
Because they always said where you see Mohawk footprints, you know there's at least 100 of them, right? Even though it looks like one man has walked through here.
it's gonna be a lot more.
Because that's what they would do. They would walk single file and they would just follow the leader's footprints. And it was always in a straight line. And Mom would always say to me, don't walk like a European, because they walk with their feet like this.
I
Like,
know, I do notice that because I often walk like this too.
Me too.
I'm not like
Except in the winter, I embrace my inner penguin.
I do. I do a little bit more like
Because I don't want to fall.
I do widen my stance, and I'm like,
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm not embarrassed about how I look.
No,
I'm like, because
no.
Papa will make fun of me and say, you look like a penguin. I'm like, yep, I do.
I don't give a F.
And penguins don't fall down very easily.
Yeah, exactly. That, and then you get the
They know when to
spikes for your
slide.
shoe.
Yes.
Your ice spikes.
Yeah,
those
ice
things work
spikes.
really well because Ida got me some.
Mm-hmm.
And I used them that last little ice bit we had just at the beginning of December it was or whatever.
Yeah.
End of November. Perfect. Everyone else was
Nice.
like, "Whoo," and I was like,
Yeah. What up, bitches?
Yeah, look at me go. I could run if I wanted. Not that I would, but I could.
Because, like, if you watch those videos on YouTube of people, like, trying to navigate across ice, first of all, most of them were wearing running shoes, not the shoe to wear on ice.
I know. Yeah. There was one dad who came. He obviously just came from work, but but he had like dress shoes.
Oh
I'm
my
like, of
God,
all the things to
no.
wear, and he was like,
Yeah.
these are not the greatest
That's when
shoes.
you need the galoshes that go
Yeah.
over the
Exactly.
dress shoes. They
Wasn't-
do still
They
sell
do.
those.
You do, and because they're helpful. There's a
yeah.
purpose for them.
Yeah.
And people can say, yeah, he was like, this is not a great idea.
No.
And I'm like, no, it's not, but you do you. Here I am with my spiky Eskimo boots on, and I'm like, I'm ready for anything.
Exactly. I mean, we are Canadian. Let's prepare for it.
Exactly.
People.
People don't always know.
And when what bugs me is when people bitch about winter.
Yeah,
And
I like winter.
I like winter too.
I mean, there are times it gets cold and it's frustrating, but it is what it's just a season.
Yeah, and plus we're in Canada.
Yeah, you
it's not a surprise.
Yeah,
Like-
it's not shocking that we have winter for a very long time. It gets cold up here.
Exactly.
And it's just like, that's just the way it is.
Yeah, if you want a more temperate climate, go to BC. You don't necessarily have to leave the country, but go somewhere else.
Yeah, go somewhere more like mostly rains, like
Yeah.
instead of snow.
And then you'll be bitching about the rain.
It's so true. There's always a way for you to bitch about what is going on. People
Yeah.
just like to complain about the weather, partly
They
because
do.
and I think also partly because they're just like, what else do I talk about? But it's weird that we always think about complaining.
Yeah, we go to the complaining first.
Instead of just like
it's
the-
too hot, it's too cold, there's snow, the sun won't stop shining in the summer. You know, it's so humid. And granted, Kingston is very humid. but-
Yeah, I've been finding it better. I find if I'm in the shade,
Yeah.
I can usually it has to be a pretty bad humid day
yeah.
for me to be like, okay. I find my tolerance has gotten better, but mainly because I have to be outside all the time with the kids. So.
Right. Yeah, and my tolerance was fine when I was a mother too, but my fibromyalgia gets triggered.
That makes sense with the heat.
Yeah, so most people get triggered in the cold. Me, not so much. It's the heat that gets me.
I feel like I would be more of the heat. Although when I do get too cold, my body does start to ache. Like I get
Oh yeah,
it like gets
I've been
into
there.
your body, and you're like, oh god, I just need.
It's like in the bone marrow.
Yeah, and it takes you so long to warm up, and then once you do warm up, then all of a sudden you go from like finally, oh, I feel warm to not instantly too hot.
The blankets need to go off. Why do I have so many layers on?
Exactly. Yeah, because the one day we took the girls sledding, it happened to be. It was like. It was funny because we took them sledding and there was almost no snow in the hill. But the hill is a pretty good hill to slide on, even when there's no snow.
Oh, okay.
So, and it did have a sprinkle of snow on it. So there was
Right,
a little bit.
Right.
But we're like, the girls wanted to do a play date. So we're like, okay. And so we went outside and we were outside for like 2 hours and it was cooler than we had thought. So then when we got back at that point, I was like, oh, so cold. And it took like hours for me to get warm. But by the time I did, I was like, okay, heater needs to go off. We got to open a window. Blankets off. I need to take my pants off. I'm so hot. I just like, you've been complaining being cold all night.
I'm doing an Annabelle.
Yeah, exactly. He's like, you've been complaining about being cold this whole time. I'm like, yeah, well now I'm hot. And now I'm too hot. So let's get everything off.
Don't judge me. Just
Yeah,
help me.
Exactly. Stop talking. Do something.
Exactly. Give me a cold glass of lemonade.
Hear a whole lot of yapping, not a whole lot of helping.
Exactly. Oh my God, too funny. Oh yes, yes. I mean, yeah, you go from one extreme to the other a lot
I
of the
know.
time.
I feel like you're never just like content. It's always like one or the other. It's
Yeah.
Like, why?
Or yeah, like your body's okay, but your fingers are frozen.
Oh yeah, or your toes.
Yeah, and I know like extremities, they, whatever kind of thing. But at the same time, it's like, can we not all just coordinate and get to the same temperature?
I know. It's like, yeah, it's like we're all attached. We're all together in this.
Exactly.
Let's work together and make it happen. I know.
So
I
take
always
some of the core energy and shoot it out to the fingers a
balance
little bit.
Balance it out a little bit. Come on. I'm clearly very hot right here. It's like when I sleep at night. Like we still sleep with a fan on because I like the sound of a fan.
Oh, okay.
But there's a very delicate balance between getting too hot and too cold.
Right. Yes. Yes.
Because Ayanda is very warm. He doesn't believe me, but he is a very warm person. And
Right.
he heats up very fast.
Oh, okay.
But the problem is if he doesn't come to bed right away, and I'm like gone in bed.
Mm-hmm.
I've gotten now the perfect temperature because I've warmed it up.
Okay.
But then he'll come in And then you've ruined the whole ecosystem
Ecosystem.
of the warmth of the bed. So now I'm too hot. Because you've upped it. So then I have to find the delicate balance of how much feet I usually take my feet out because I don't like my feet getting hot.
Yeah.
So I'm like, how much do I put both feet out? Do I just put one foot out?
Yes.
How much of the foot?
Yeah.
Do I also need an arm out? Or do I want over me and just my feet? Like, it's like how I need to find a way to balance. Something needs to get cool so that the rest of me can get like normal.
And sometimes I've woken up in the night and, I've taken the blanket off completely.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I'm sitting there shivering. But then when you put the blanket back on, you're like, oh, yeah, this feels so good. And then, like, you tuck in everything.
Yeah.
Right? You're finding the hot spots on your body to put
Yeah.
your fingers.
But then before too long, you're like, okay, now I'm getting hot. Though.
Yeah.
And then you're like, okay, so what can I stick out now? That, like,
Yeah,
or like
exactly.
you like make an air vent in the blanket
Yeah.
to get some air flowing. It's
And what part do you want that air vent?
Exactly. Because sometimes you're like, oh, I want, up here.
Yeah.
But sometimes you want down by your feet.
Yeah.
I tend to go by my feet. I usually don't like this part cold.
Yeah.
But my feet and my legs, I don't mind getting too chilled.
Yeah, like I have to be careful because if they get too cold, then I start cramping. Because I've done that since I was a kid. Because the doctor was like, well, when did that start? I'm like, when I was 5. Like,
my entire life?
yeah, exactly.
Since I was alive, born? I don't know.
Yeah,
I
because
can't.
doctors have tried to put purposes behind it. I do eat lots of bananas and
Yes, you were
potatoes
talking
for
about potassium.
potassium and
Potassium.
magnesium and all that kind of stuff. And I do watch that I keep that up. But even with that, I still get, like, I'm now on medication for it.
Oh, because it's that bad, eh?
Yeah, it's that bad. Like, in the night, I have a combination of getting cramps really bad and restless legs.
No, it's not fun for you.
So I was getting up in the night and my legs were doing this. I was asleep but it would wake me up.
Jesus. Should put some weights on your legs. You could working them out.
Work myself out. I've
Do
lost
some
20
resistant
pounds
bands.
just sleeping.
Get like resistant bands
Yeah.
that go underneath the bed and you're like,
Yeah, exactly. But in our family, there's a lot of jigglers.
yeah, I'm jiggling right now.
Yeah.
My leg is jiggling right now. I can't keep my legs still.
Apparently,
usually.
that's a genetic
A hereditary
Thank you.
trait.
Yeah. So my brother does it. I do it. I think John
Marcel
Michael
does it, I think,
yeah,
too.
Marcel does it. Yeah.
I know I do it.
And yeah. So, but at night, for whatever reason, as you get older, at night it gets worse. So
I've never noticed. I just
I'll
never said
be
anything.
sitting there watching TV and doing this on my chair.
I've
Right?
never done that.
Oh, I didn't do it when I was younger, but now I'm older and I do it.
I wonder
right?
if I'll do that because I think it's hard too. Because usually when I'm sitting on the couch, I like to sit up up,
Right.
like how Papa does when
Yeah,
he was younger.
yeah.
So I don't find I jiggle as much because I like to be more like hunched like a bat or something. I'm like, wah!
Oh, that might change as you're older. Who knows?
Yeah.
But yeah, so yeah, I find I jiggle and move around a lot more, and
Oh,
it's more at night that I do it. Or if I've been sitting for too long, I know I have to get up and walk around.
Yeah,
Because my job, I do a lot of sitting.
it is hard. It's hard when you do sitting. I do a lot of sitting.
Yeah.
A lot of activities or any type of kind of work, it always seems to involve a computer or sitting for a while.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
and
Exactly.
then it's like I can always
you
tell.
can't walk and crochet or walk and cross stitch at the
No,
same time.
those are two very difficult things. A lot of the stuff I do, art-wise, does not
yeah involve
working out
or pacing of any
pacing
kind.
of any kind. Exactly. Like cooking's fine because I get to move a lot when I cook.
Yeah.
and I often
And you're standing up.
You're
and-
standing. I dance when I'm cooking. So
Yeah.
there's some activity there.
Yeah.
And I do try and work out because I find like I had between being sick in November and then like so busy with like Christmas prep, I wasn't doing my workout as much. I was like starting to feel the achiness. I was like, oh my god,
yeah.
because I was like, oh, but I haven't done my workout, so I've started doing that back again.
Oh,
So I'm
good.
back again to
Nice.
like 2 to 3 times a week doing mobility and working out. I'm like, oh, I mean, like even just the first week I did, I was like, oh, I feel so much better. Like,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
knew I was missing this.
Right. Yeah, because you don't realize it until it's gone.
Well, exactly. And before I used to just do it once a week, and then I moved up to twice a week, and then I was doing almost like 3 times a week. So it was like once I stopped doing it, I really felt the difference. Like, oh my
Yeah,
god, I'm not doing
yeah.
this to my body.
Yeah, it's about making it a priority, I guess, right? And,
Yeah, making it fit for you, because I always find like I do better in person. So like I have to go like with like who like I do it online, but I'm in person online,
Right.
Because I'm less likely to skip it
Yeah,
I'm there,
because you've got an obligation to someone.
exactly, I have an
Yeah.
obligation. So I'm like, oh, I have to go. And most of my things are no longer than like 30 to 40 minutes. Most of the time, most of them are 20, but no longer than 20 to 30 minutes. And it's like that fits. Like it doesn't
Yeah.
feel like it takes over. Like it's easy
Yeah.
because I just have to like, oh, I only have to do it for 20, 30 minutes. And there's lots of times where I'm like, oh, well, maybe I'll do a little bit more after, or I'll go for a walk and I'll go for like an hour walk that day or the next day because
Right.
I'm like, oh, I want more movement, and it's
Yeah.
like easier to fit those kind. Like it doesn't. It feels less daunting.
Yeah, yeah. No, absolutely. You got to make it fit your time, your schedule. And like, yeah, I mean, even 10-minute increments are better than one big long session
Yeah.
if it doesn't fit.
Well-
because you're more likely, like if you go to the gym and you work out for an hour and then you have to shower and get dressed and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
So before you know it, you've carved out 2 hours in your
It
day.
can be quite a bit depending on what it is. And-
Exactly. And if you can do it in smaller chunks, you're less likely to give it up.
Yeah, and it's easier to fit in, and it's always good to do a little bit of movement every day.
Yeah, yeah.
I saw this thing. I haven't done it yet, and I don't know the validity of this, but this person was saying like and it does seem quite a lot, so I don't know if I would start off exactly doing how she do it, but she said every 45 minutes you should be doing like, I think it was like 10 or 15. I don't remember all of this.
Okay,
so I
yeah,
don't
don't
remember,
write this in
don't write
stone.
this in stone. I have to refine the video of like doing squats. She just did squats.
Oh,
and so
yeah,
every 45
yeah.
minutes did squats for like, let's say 5 minutes or however many she did, how many reps she did.
Yeah.
And she was like, if you do that, for, your waking hours or whatever.
Yeah.
Every 45 minutes, that's better than working out for like however long, an hour a day or an hour a week or whatever.
Right.
And I'm like, well, that makes sense because it's good. One, because every 45 minutes forces you to get up. You're not staying hunched down. You're getting your blood pumping. You're moving your body. And squatting is good because it activates a lot of parts of your body.
Yes.
Or at least
yeah.
a lot of the lower part. I mean, you do some parts depending on how you do the squat and what you're doing.
Squats are supposed to increase your longevity in life, I think.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think they said something like that in the video too, because that was part of it. Like it was supposed to be good for you in like a lot of different ways. So.
Right, yeah.
Well, that's good. I've always worked on squats. Since you always talked about having issues with squats, that was always something I've worked on.
Yeah, because like I don't even like to do the
Marcel doesn't like to do them
child pose in yoga.
Child pose.
Because my quads, I guess these are
I don't know what
the
those
top
are.
parts of your thighs.
I think so.
Top front parts.
Isn't quads back? I thought. Or
Oh,
no?
maybe.
Whatever the top
glutes are
Oh,
the bum.
glutes. Yes, quads. You're right. These are the quads. You're right. Yes.
Okay.
I
Yeah,
don't know
child's
body parts.
pose. I can't because they're super tight.
See, you told me that, and I used to have that issue when I was a
Yeah.
kid, and
Yeah.
like Marcel did. But I forced myself. I was like,
Yeah,
no,
that's good that
I'm
you
going
did.
to do this.
And Papa can squat like
I can
nobody's
squat.
business.
I can squat. I can't.
And I was always in awe of anybody that could just cop a squat kind of thing,
I
right?
find that now that I've been doing it for longer, I do find myself just naturally going a squat, and I
Okay.
can just be like, okay, do. I still will have some days, especially if I haven't been working out as much, or I'm just having one of those days, or sometimes when I still have to get up, I'm like, okay, we're doing this. But like I do find that I'll often like go in a squat and not even thinking it's and I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
I've been squatting, and then it's like, oh, gotta get back up.
Well, it's funny that you say that because lately, with stuff on the floor, sometimes it's been a challenge for me
Oh yeah,
with the fibro. But I've been saying, no, be thankful that you're able to pick it up off the floor.
Mm-hmm.
And, bend, I often bend, but I'll try to remind myself, thank you for making me pick this up off the floor. Whatever angel tossed it there, to watch me have to. I do try to do even a little bit of a squat.
Yeah, there's ways you can do like squats and chairs, like so you can
Oh.
like slowly work. I think it's if you get a smaller squat. There's like ways to do things modified to like practice.
that's a good
So
idea.
that way you can like over time. The idea is eventually
I can go into
you
a full squat
You can go
and-
in full squat. You have to start off smaller because like
Yeah.
when I first started doing squats, now at this point I was younger, so I was able to hold it for longer and could
Yeah.
already go into a squat more naturally.
I'm an old woman.
She's so old. That's my Lucy called me old. I'm 33.
Now,
I was like, excuse me.
I heard this, and I don't know if there's any validity to this, but it's funny because old, of course, shifts as you get older.
Yeah.
Right?
Well,
like,
yeah.
when you're young, like Lucy is, 33 seems ancient.
I mean, it does. I mean, she's only 7, so like.
So apparently it's anybody that's 15 years or more older than you, we perceive it as being old. So that's how it shifts all the time.
Really?
Yeah. So if you're like 50, now you're thinking 65 is old.
Oh,
Right?
okay.
But if you're 30, you think that 45 is old.
See,
Right?
but I don't think I wouldn't. But as 33, maybe because it's not quite 50. Like 50.
Yeah, you're like 48. Does
40
48 sound old to you?
No.
Okay. Well,
I feel like 60. Like I think logically, like I'm thinking really old. I'm thinking
Yeah.
like 60 or plus.
Yeah,
You're
yeah.
starting to get maybe older, but like I've never been like, oh, you're really old at this age. I've always
Yeah.
been like at 60 or
I
so.
think I thought about that when I heard it, and I'm like, I think the 15-year bracket also expands as you get older.
That makes sense.
So, like, I'm in my 50s, I'm mid 50, so I probably think 75 is old.
Yeah, you start to branch it out because you're also pushing off for yourself.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
I'm not old.
Well, I have announced over the last year that I will be dying at 104.
Oh wow, she's very set on
So
that.
there you go. That's
Wonderful. Great time for you to save up for your casket,
Yeah.
your funeral, and your
Well,
plot.
like I said, I just roll me in a shroud and
it still
put me
costs
in.
money. They still charge you.
I know, because you got to rent the casket, because I do want to wake.
Oh yeah, well yeah, of course you want to wake. Who
Yeah.
doesn't want to wake?
Well, a lot of people, like, I love this celebration of life instead of a funeral, but that being
I
said,
still want to wake with a celebration of life.
Yeah.
Put my
Like,
body out.
you-
Look at me.
you put whatever
celebrate.
label on there, whether it's a
Yeah, it
funeral
doesn't.
or
I
a
don't really view.
celebration.
When people say funeral or like wake, I think wake as a celebration of life
Yeah.
because I never think of it as a sad thing. I
Yeah.
mean, it is a sad thing.
It
but
is
you
a sad
don't-
thing.
I don't view it
But-
in a sad scope.
I mean,
I guess.
we're like, so a lot of the funerals we've been to have been on our Irish side.
Yeah.
So the Irish know how to do
You
a
always
wake
show
and
the
a funeral.
body.
You always show the
I
body.
find it's less
There's
sad when you see
usually
the
some
body.
alcohol involved. You get to see all your family.
Yeah.
And
Big family reunion, basically.
yeah, it's a big family reunion, even bigger than like a wedding.
I was gonna say, yeah, it's you.
Because a funeral, you will show
I was gonna
up.
say, very rarely do you see everyone
Yeah,
in the family than you would at like a wake.
especially an Irish wake.
Yeah. So
And-
I usually see people I haven't seen in a really long time. If I'm
Yeah,
gonna see,
exactly.
see them.
And the reason you go to a wake, people, this is very important, even more important than the funeral. You go to the wake for the people that have survived,
Yeah.
not the dead person.
No. No.
You're there to comfort and sort of be like, oh, I'm so sorry, or,
Yeah.
what can I do?
Yeah.
Sort of
Show
thing.
support you can.
Yeah, because
Whatever capacity you're able to at that time.
Exactly. Like, I've lost both my parents, and I really, really appreciated those people that showed up to offer their condolences that didn't know my mom or dad,
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh my God, I'm so grateful for that.
Yeah.
Now, on Facebook, there's always like, lots of people that say they're sorry and blah, blah, blah. But, showing up in person, taking that effort,
Yeah.
making that time is such a beautiful gift.
It is. I think it's hard though because fewer people, or at least maybe because it's a cost thing, are doing wakes. Like I've seen a few people whose like, parents have passed or family members passed, partners passed, but then they're like, oh, we're not holding any kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay. And I'm like, well, then how do I like effectively like,
yeah.
like you message them and stuff. But it's hard when you're like, maybe you don't have a super close relationship with the person.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I
But
always find
it's that last moment to see that person. If you knew the person, it's that
Yeah.
last moment. It's a special moment in time,
yeah.
because like I know when my mom died first, and she died of an aneurysm.
Yeah.
I felt like I was in a bubble, because I really was like, one of the things you go through is anger, of
Yeah.
course, and denial and all this kind of stuff.
All the
and
stages of grief.
Exactly. And I was really angry because I was like, the world needs to stop and everybody needs to get off, because I'm hurting because I just lost my mother.
Yeah.
And I can honestly say she was probably my first big death, right?
Yeah.
Because there's deaths, like I had aunts and uncles die, and that was
Yeah.
sad and stuff, but it's not like, oh my God.
Unless like you're super, super close and they made like a
Yeah.
huge impact in your life. You know?
Exactly.
You're gonna be like, oh, that's sad, but it's not.
Yeah, exactly. And my dad was hard too. And it was particularly hard because my grandma was there. And
Oh,
she,
yeah, she
she
had a
made a
hard time.
special moment with her, just her and I, and we were crying together. And in that moment, I realized she's a mother burying her son.
Yeah.
And that
That's a
should
hard-
never happen.
That's a hard thing.
Yeah,
Especially at their age. Like, you know, at that point
Yeah.
you think, you know, we're set. There's no way
Yeah.
I'm gonna live past my
I'm going to
kids.
die before my
I'm,
kids.
you
No
know,
problem.
I'm at a ripe old age.
And it wasn't like that. My father didn't die of a car accident or
No.
something sudden like that. He had cancer.
Yeah.
And that's what he died of.
Yeah.
But it was just like I said, you get a little selfish sometimes when it's really close to you, like this person died, it's an awful thing.
Yeah.
It was my father, blah, blah, blah. But in that moment when Grandma and I were just her and I in a very crowded room, but just her and I in that moment, I realized you're a mother burying your son.
Yeah, which is not something you expect, especially at her age. 'Cause She was like
Exactly.
92
Something.
or something.
Yeah,
like,
she was up in their 90s somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I know she died when she was 95.
Yeah.
And I don't think it was like that much longer after. It was like
No,
a couple,
it
2
was
or
on-
3 years, I
Yeah,
think. Like it wasn't that
after
much.
Dad died. And you know, again, when you lose a parent, that's a big death. Because my 75-year-old at that time uncle was crying like a baby at
Yeah.
Grandma's funeral because his mom just died.
Yeah, it's never easy, I think. It doesn't matter what age. Even when they, you
Yeah.
know, she died at 95, which is like a great length.
Yeah, she had
Of
a
life.
good long life.
Good long life. But like,
but when
it
you
never,
lose your mom,
it's never, it doesn't matter
yeah.
what age.
No,
it's never
you're still
easy.
he's still the little boy that loved his mom.
Yeah,
You know, and she was a good mom.
yeah.
You know, for the most part. I mean, I'm sure there's parts.
Oh, I mean, what parent doesn't fuck with their kid in some
Yeah,
way?
exactly. And you know, despite it all, you love them and you want their love. And
Yeah.
you want their
You're still, even if you don't have a great relationship with your parents, I think there's always going to be a little bit of sadness when they
of course.
pass in some way, even if it's not for the person, but the person they were supposed to be,
Yeah.
or whatever. You know, like obviously that's not the case with Grandma, but I mean, like for some people, like just the idea of like, oh, now I have no chance to like, you know,
I find
maybe-
a lot of people like your parents are not perfect,
no,
but you think they are when you're a little kid.
yeah,
And it's very heartbreaking when you find out they're not perfect at whatever age you find that out at.
Yeah.
Because you're going to find it out at some point.
Yeah.
That, oh, they have fallacies and they have flaws and, you know, they don't do everything right. And, oh my God, I'm getting life advice from this idiot. You know?
oh God, who's raising me?
It's like-
Are you qualified for this?
but unfortunately, a lot of people never forgive that and never get past that.
Yeah,
Because the expectation is my parents are supposed to be perfect.
yeah,
But they're not.
no.
And
We're all what is it? I saw something that was like imperfectly perfect or something like
Yeah.
or something like that.
yeah, we're all masterpieces in works.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but
But like I think the world would be a better place if we were more forgiving and it starts at home. Everything starts at home.
Yeah.
Charity, forgiveness, whatever.
so
And
once
home
again,
can-
is the parents' fault?
so it starts with ourselves.
yeah,
Self-love, self-forgiveness, all this, and then we branch out to our siblings, to our parents,
and so forth, so on.
and not everyone's going to be perfect, and some people are even going to be jerks and assholes and bitches, you know. It's just
Real cunts.
yeah, exactly. And but at the same time, you can still love and forgive that person.
Yeah.
Right.
Doesn't mean you want to hang out with them. Doesn't
No.
mean you're gonna have a great relationship with them. Doesn't mean you can you have to have a relationship with them.
Yeah, and yeah, they can be very toxic, but if you're strong, if you're coming from a place of center and a place of love, that toxicity cannot, like, it's like water off a duck's back. It's like,
Yeah.
okay, you can feel sorry for that person and go, I'm sorry that you're so toxic and so angry at the world that you
have
can't
to
like,
project that
Yeah.
out and
but it's not going to affect me.
yeah.
Right? Like, you made me angry, you made me sad. No, no one does that to you. That's your choice.
It's a choice to feel that emotion.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean if someone does something you're not going to feel a certain way, but then
Of
you have to be like,
course.
okay, well, why am I feeling this way?
Yeah.
What triggered me? Why is it like that? Okay, what do I have to deal with within me
Yeah.
that so that I either like know how to properly like respond to the situation or not react in the same way or whatever the situation is.
Especially if you know, like, there's the aunt that's always the bitch. And so,
yeah, because
you know, oh, you're still overweight. Oh, you're still not wearing nice things.
you can't control what other people do. You can only control what you do.
Exactly.
Unfortunately.
And you can make the choice to not let her toxicity
yeah.
affect you.
Yeah.
She does not have that permission. That's part of the boundary thing, right?
Yeah.
It's not I'm cutting you off. It's I'm not allowing your energy to affect
Yeah.
my energy in a negative way
Yeah.
because I've not given it permission to do that.
Yeah.
Now that takes a lot of
I would
strength.
say it takes time. You're not going to be perfect, and maybe sometimes you do have to put space. You do have to be
Yes.
like low contact or no contact for a while until you're at
Yeah.
a point where like, okay, I am able to put this boundary in place
Yeah.
and maintain it and you
Yeah.
know not let it affect
It's
me.
not like before the big family Christmas, you're going to go, well, I'm not going to let her affect me.
Yeah.
And the next day you go to that family thing, go, fuck that bitch. you know,
Yeah.
or whatever, right?
It doesn't quite work that way. So it's okay to not like
Yeah.
take a break from your family if you need to put or friends or
Yeah.
whoever it is.
Or when you go to the family function, recognize that you're reacting in this moment.
Yeah.
And go home and sit with that.
Yeah.
You know, and know that, okay, everything, this too shall pass.
Yeah.
Right? That's the constant in life is change. This
Yeah.
too shall pass. Misery doesn't last forever, or I always say happiness doesn't last forever, but neither does misery.
It's true.
And
It flows and it goes up
flows.
and,
And sometimes you're given that aunt or uncle or family member, mom, dad, sibling, as a test for you because you picked a lot of the people that in your family. You went, yeah, I want to be part of that. And then you get there and you're like, what the hell was I thinking?
I want to be part of that craziness.
Exactly. But we're all crazy. Like let's just accept, first of all, we're all crazy.
We're all a little
It's just
off-kilter.
what level and what kind of crazy
What
are
kind
we?
of crazy are you?
Exactly.
Normal crazy or really?
Because normal is not, that's the illusion. Normal.
That's true. That's true. Normal is a facade.
Yeah,
None of us
exactly.
are normal.
None of us are.
None of us.
And if we loved each other for our differences and for our craziness, we would be better people overall.
That's true. That's true. Just think, let's be accepting of people's green skin. Watch Wicked. We're all a little bit different.
That's right.
Okay.
You just watched Wicked, yeah. So
A very, very hard theme, obviously.
yes, exactly.
Good movie, by the way.
Okay, cool. I saw the play. It was many years ago. I've read the book many years ago.
I've started the book. I've never finished the book, and that was years ago.
But yeah, I've heard good things about the movie.
The movie was good. I really liked it. Apparently, they did live singing in the movie too. So they
Oh,
said
very
and they
cool.
like built the production like it's all a lot of CGI. I mean, obviously,
Oh,
I'm sure
okay.
there's some, but like all that, like the
Well, they like to stress that now because there are some movies that lean hard on the CGI.
yeah, they do. I was telling you, like when I was watching, I was even wondering if they built a lot of it because like CGI has like a. I like CGI. It doesn't bother me. I watch a lot of sci-fi, so a lot of sci-fi.
Yeah, it has
Obvious
CGI,
CGI.
in it. Yeah.
But CGI has like kind of like this.
But as a human, we
Look,
can kind of
Yeah,
tell.
it's like you can kind of tell that fakeness, right? Like
Yeah.
it's weird how humans can tell that. But I didn't feel that way when I was watching it, so I was kind of like, oh, I wonder, did they build a lot of this? Like it felt like it was like this feels real, like too real. Like it feels
Right,
like
right.
seems legit. And then Ina showed me some stuff after, because of course now they followed us and saw Ina book the tickets wherever they do. So
Right.
now he's getting all these videos about Wicked, and of course then he's watching them and he's sending them to me. So now the algorithm's like, oh, you really like this? I'll send you more.
Yeah,
So-
exactly.
So we keep learning new information about the movie since we've watched it.
I know it's weird when you change the algorithm. Like you watch that one YouTube video,
Oh, now
and
it's
suddenly YouTube's
Boom,
like,
boom,
yeah,
boom, boom, boom. You watch one stupid video that you were like, this is so stupid. And then,
It had the clickbait, so you went, oh, I want to know more about
yeah,
that.
and then before you know it, now you're inundated with it. And you're like, I thought it was stupid before, and now I'm being, it takes you forever to get off your thing.
Yeah,
and then every once in a while it'll still pop up, like, I got rid of you.
Exactly. Like, it's like when you try to change it, and so you go back to the dog videos or whatever, and they're like, oh, but you still want more of this,
Yeah,
right?
And then they
it's like,
send you less dog videos. I'm like, I want less. I want more.
exactly.
I do that. I watch it one time. Stop haunting me with a poor decision.
Exactly. Well, that's like on Instacart, which is a grocery
Oh, yeah.
delivery system. They still recommend dog treats and dog food to
Oh,
me.
because of course you had those, but now it's
Yeah.
been so long. You
And
feel
the
like,
first time it happened, I started to cry because
Aw.
I'm like, I don't have any more puppies.
I don't have what I need for dog treats except for my husband who sometimes likes to try them.
Yeah, he did like to try them once in a while. I'm like, oh my
I don't
god,
understand why though, because he's like, oh, they look tasty. I'm like, they smell awful.
they do.
I'm like, no person in their right mind thinks, dog treat, that smells great. Like, they literally are
Well, this is-
gang-inducing smell.
this is a man who eats like those sardine cans.
That's true.
He opens them up and eats
Those
them.
are strong
Ugh.
scented. But I'd rather smell sardines than
Yeah.
I'd rather a dog treat.
Yes, yeah, that's true. Dog treats.
If I
don't
had to
smell
choose
good.
between smelling one or the other forever, sardines. Not dog treats.
Yes, I don't blame you there. I don't blame you at all. So where are we at here?
We're
An hour and a half.
I guess we should probably
Yeah.
call it quits. We didn't even read our story.
No, we didn't.
But they'll be for next time. I
Yeah.
have them saved.
Yeah, so we have some Reddits that we'll do next time. Thank you for joining us, those of you that did.
Yeah. Or those of us will after join us.
Yeah, exactly.
later.
Rewatch it or whatever. If there's anything you want to know more about, or if there's anything you want us to explore or talk about
Or discuss.
or discuss, I'm not claiming to be an expert on
No.
all topics, obviously.
Close.
But I can
know
always
nothing.
give my opinion on stuff, as can my daughter.
We're very opinionated
that's
people,
right.
So whether those opinions are accurate or right in any format is...
We are happy to give them.
Yeah. We are not always right. If anything, we're never right. So take us with a big grain of salt.
Giant grain of salt.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Big bucket of
But
it.
we hope that you're enjoying our little talks that we do.
Yeah, our chit-chats.
And our chit chats, exactly. And if you like us, please subscribe to our channel.
Yeah, like our
Please give this
videos.
video a thumbs up, ring the fairy bell so you know when a new one's coming up. Join us on Facebook as well. You can find me under Rhonda Devlin Gilbert. You can type in Goddess Garage. You'll find me on all the social media
She's got
platforms.
the little check.
I've got the little check.
She's verified.
I'm
as
verified.
They,
It's
as they
the
say.
real me.
Not the fake her. It's
Yeah.
the real her.
Yeah.
Because there's a fake one of her apparently going around.
And I hope you'll join us again. We usually do this every Wednesday morning is when
Yeah.
we're doing this. So have a great day. Have a great week.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. And thank you for joining us.
Yes, thank you.
All right.
I'll turn it off
Yeah,
since
you
I hit
can-
your finger.
Yeah. I'm an old dried up woman.